The chamber hums with an electricity no one can quite name. Cameras line the back wall, their red recording lights blinking like watchful eyes. Staffers whisper behind folders. Reporters grip pens, sensing the tremor of something bigger than another budget hearing. The chairperson clears their throat, voice tight. We'll now proceed to questions from the committee. A low shuffle. Papers rustle. Then, silence. The senator leans forward, eyes steady, tone measured but edged with something dangerous. Before we begin, I want to address the figures released late last night. A pause, sharp enough to slice through the murmurs. Are Pam Bondi and Kash Patel present? Bondi straightens, offering a tight smile that doesn't quite reach her eyes. Patel shifts in his chair, folding his hands. The senator continues. The report indicates that a sum of $1 billion, taxpayer dollars, remains unaccounted for. That's not a typo. That's a billion with a B. Gasps flicker through the audience. Cameras pivot. Bondi tilts her chin, replying coolly, Senator, those figures are being taken out of context. But the senator's gaze doesn't move. Out of context? Then tell us what the context is. Patel chuckles. Too loud, too dismissive. This is just political theater. You know that. The senator doesn't blink. Then act like you're not afraid of the stage. A ripple cuts through the room. The journalists lean forward. The click of cameras sounds like rainfall. Bondi's smile falters. Patel's jaw tightens. On the screens behind them, a headline flashes in real time. Bondi and Patel accused of concealing $1 budget hole. The hearing room itself becomes the story. The senator glances toward the headline, then back at the pair before them. Let's keep this simple, they say quietly. Are you denying that $1 billion went unaccounted for under your oversight? Every sound seems to vanish. Even the air stops moving. Bondi opens her mouth. Nothing. Patel shifts again, whispering something under his breath. The senator leans in, their tone dropping to a near whisper. You can answer now, or the evidence will answer for you. The moment hangs suspended, fragile and electric. And then, but this was only the beginning, because what came next turned the entire chamber upside down. Weeks earlier, the whispers had started quietly. Too quietly for the press to catch, but loud enough to echo through Capitol hallways. An anonymous memo, unsigned, began circulating between staffers. It spoke of financial irregularities, coded language that always meant one thing. Someone was hiding something. The numbers didn't add up. Line items shifted between departments like cards in a rigged deck. $1 billion, moved under a sub-budget classification so obscure that even veteran auditors had to dig for it. Each time they got close, the trail disappeared, like ink fading off a page. Inside the marble corridors, tension thickened. Bondi brushed it off during interviews, voice sharp and practiced. Baseless rumors. Typical partisan noise. Patel took a different approach. He laughed. If there's a missing billion, maybe it's in the imagination of our critics. His smirk played well on TV, but not with those who'd seen the ledgers. Behind the scenes, auditors weren't laughing. Their private reports used words like irregular transfer chains, documentation gaps, and urgent verification required. Quietly, one internal investigator resigned, citing ethical conflicts. Another leaked a redacted sheet to a journalist, but the story never made it past the editor's desks. Someone powerful had picked up the phone. By the third week, a handful of senators had begun asking discreet questions. Where did the billion go? Why are signatures missing? Who signed off? The responses came back rehearsed, identical and hollow. The budget is balanced. The matter is resolved. Except it wasn't. A late-night email thread revealed what no press conference could hide, overlapping authorizations bearing both Bondi's and Patel's digital stamps. A single misfiled document exposed the pattern, not an accident but a design. That's when the senator made a choice. Not to whisper, not to leak, to confront. Colleagues warned, "You'll be crucified if you're wrong." The senator replied, "And what if I'm right?" In the days leading up to the hearing, the tension was unbearable. Staffers avoided eye contact. Reporters camped outside offices. Every statement from Bondi or Patel felt more defensive, more desperate. And when the senator walked into that hearing, armed with one spreadsheet, everyone realized this wasn't rumor anymore. The paper trail looked ordinary at first, lines, codes, account numbers arranged with bureaucratic precision. But buried beneath the jargon was a single sub-budget entry, one few had ever noticed before: departmental transitional adjustments, a harmless phrase. Unless you knew how to read it, the numbers inside that column told a different story. Transfers looping through 4 departments in less than a week. Amounts split into perfectly rounded figures. $250 million here, $50 million there, until the total reached $1 billion. Then vanished into a network of sub-accounts with no public explanation. Auditors flagged it months ago. Their digital signatures, time-stamped and documented, appeared alongside approval codes from 2 high-ranking offices, Bondi's and Patel's. When the investigators compared metadata across multiple files, every trace led back to the same authorization chain. Bondi's spokesperson dismissed it immediately. "A clerical oversight," she said. The funds were never missing, simply misallocated. Patel went further, calling the entire narrative a trap designed by political operatives. But the documents didn't care about politics. They told their own truth. Cold, exact, impossible to charm. Journalists began to follow the scent. A local paper cross-referenced the movement of those funds with recently awarded contracts. The same shell firms kept appearing, nondescript names registered in Delaware with donor ties to political committees. Each time the connections grew clearer, the denials grew louder. Leaked emails surfaced, showing staffers discussing how to restructure visibility. Internal accountants warned of risk exposure. One message even read, "If we shift to transitional adjustments, it won't trigger outside review." The phrasing was clinical, but the intent was surgical. The deeper reporters dug, the more deliberate the pattern appeared, as if someone had designed a maze, confident no one would ever reach the center. But someone had. The senator's aides pieced the trail together line by line, night after night, until the evidence formed a single unbroken chain. To the untrained eye, it was just numbers. To the senator, it was proof. Every dollar told a story, and every story ended at the same 2 names. Still, no one expected the senator to take it public. Not like this. Long after the halls of Congress had emptied, one light still burned. The senator sat alone, papers spread across a desk like a battlefield. Audit sheets, transfer records, and fiscal reports, each marked, circled, annotated in sharp pencil. A cold cup of coffee sat untouched beside them. The only sound was the quiet rhythm of turning pages, the steady breath of someone who knew the truth was there, waiting to be found. They had seen scandals before, plenty of them. But this felt different. The scale wasn't just financial, it was moral. $1 billion meant hospitals unfunded, schools understaffed, families unseen. Every misplaced digit carried a human cost. The senator rubbed their eyes, exhaustion pulling at the edges, but the work didn't stop. Staffers had tried to dissuade them. "You've built bridges across the aisle. Don't burn them over this," a close friend warned. "You'll make enemies you can't afford to fight." The senator looked up from the papers, eyes steady. "Then let the truth be my ally." Those words carried through the night, echoing louder than the silence. As the evidence mounted, so did the pressure. Calls came in from party leaders suggesting restraint, from colleagues suggesting context, from donors suggesting silence. Each time, the senator's answer was the same, a quiet no. Somewhere deep down, they understood the danger. Exposing this meant going against more than 2 political names. It meant challenging a system comfortable with secrets. But integrity, once awakened, doesn't fall back asleep. They printed the final spreadsheet, the one document that tied every number together. At the bottom of the page, 2 signatures glared back like ghosts: Bondi, Patel. The senator placed the sheet into a folder, sealed it, and set it gently on the desk. The night outside was still. Streetlights flickered against the window. For a moment, they allowed themselves to breathe, not in relief, but in readiness. Tomorrow would bring cameras, microphones, deflection, and denial. But truth, once spoken, could not be undone, and when their turn to speak arrived, silence fell across the room. The senator stood, folder in hand, the paper edges slightly bent from the weight of long nights and longer doubts. The air in the chamber was dense, half anticipation, half denial. Cameras zoomed in. Everyone sensed it. This wasn't routine oversight anymore. It was reckoning. Let's begin with the numbers, the senator said evenly. Line item 342A, reclassified under transitional adjustments. Original allocation, $1 billion. Final report, 0, murmurs rippled. Bondi leaned forward, her smile practiced, voice smooth as glass. That's inaccurate. Those reallocations were reviewed and... By whom? The senator asked, eyes locked. Bondi hesitated. Patel broke the silence with a sharp laugh. You're chasing ghosts, Senator. It's a counting noise, not a conspiracy. The senator didn't flinch. Ghosts don't sign documents. People do. They opened the folder, revealing copies of authorization sheets. Here are 2 signatures, yours, Ms. Bondi, and yours, Mr. Patel. Patel's grin faded. The senator continued, tone steady, every word a scalpel. Transfers routed through 4 departments, all within 72 hours. No record of review, no reconciliation notes, and no trace of return. A gasp cut through the crowd. Reporters leaned forward, pens frozen mid-air. One whispered, "He's really doing it." Bondi reached for her microphone. "You're misinterpreting the data," she said, voice tight now. "Those entries were cleared by the fiscal board." "The fiscal board denied reviewing them," the senator replied. I asked. For a heartbeat, no one spoke. Patel shifted in his seat, jaw tense, trying to summon the easy confidence he'd wielded all year. But it wouldn't come. The senator's calm had flipped the power dynamic. "This isn't about party or politics," the senator said softly. "It's about $1 billion that belong to the people who trusted you." The line landed like a gavel. The audience exhaled in disbelief. Even the clicking of cameras slowed. Bondi looked down at the papers, fingers tightening around her pen. Patel's defiance shrank behind a forced smirk. Still, the senator didn't move, didn't celebrate, didn't gloat. They simply waited, eyes steady, letting silence do the work. Then came the line that turned this debate into history. Bondi's voice cracked first, sharp but trembling with strain. "You're politicizing an accounting error," she snapped, forcing a brittle smile toward the cameras. "This is grandstanding, nothing more." The senator tilted their head slightly, the faintest trace of disbelief in their eyes. When they spoke, their voice didn't rise. It dropped. Controlled and precise, each word hitting like a hammer wrapped in silk. "If accountability feels like politics to you," they said, pausing just long enough for the silence to ache, "perhaps the numbers aren't the only thing missing." The room detonated. Gasps burst from the audience. Reporters jolted upright, scrambling to record every syllable. Flashbulbs erupted in bursts of white. Even the chairperson leaned back, as if distance could shield them from the weight of that sentence. Bondi looked away, jaw tightening. Patel folded his arms, eyes darting toward the exits like a man searching for oxygen. The senator didn't move. They waited for the noise to settle, for the silence to return. Then they spoke again, calm, relentless, surgical. $1 billion, they said quietly, isn't a rounding error. It's a betrayal of the public trust. Every misplaced dollar is a teacher unpaid, a clinic unfunded, a community told to wait. You can call it clerical or political or whatever word makes it easier to swallow, but the truth doesn't need your permission to exist. A wave of murmurs rolled through the crowd. Bondi's pen slipped from her hand, clattering against the table. Patel shifted, trying to smile again, but it looked more like pain. The senator pressed on. Transparency isn't theater, it's duty. And when duty is dismissed as drama, that's when democracy begins to rot. Another flash. Another murmur. Someone in the back whispered, "This is going viral." The senator closed their folder, slow and deliberate. the sound of paper on wood echoing louder than the shouting had minutes before. The people watching at home, they said, don't want excuses. They want honesty, and tonight they've seen the difference. For a moment, no one dared breathe. The tension held like glass, fragile, beautiful, about to shatter. But outside those walls, the storm was just beginning. By morning, the clip had already exploded across every platform that could carry video and outrage. 1 million views became 10, then 50. The hashtags wrote themselves. Budget hole, Senator speaks truth, Bondi Patel scandal. One tweet read, "That's not politics. That's courage on live TV." Another simply said, "Mic dropped." News anchors replayed the confrontation on a loop. The senator's calm voice cut through every soundbite, every spin. One network called it a masterclass in composure. Another framed it as a turning point in the public's patience with corruption. Even usually cautious analysts couldn't look away. They had seen politicians deflect before, but never this clean a takedown. Bondi's office issued a late statement that evening, short, defensive, and curiously unsteady. "We reject the false narrative being circulated by partisan sources," it read, though no one seemed convinced. Patel stayed silent, his social media accounts inactive for the first time in months. Reporters camped outside his office. Nothing, not even a denial. Meanwhile, petitions calling for a full financial audit shot past 1 million signatures in 48 hours. Activist groups launched campaigns titled, "Where's the Billion?" Late-night hosts joined the chorus, their monologues mixing laughter and fury. One joked, "If it's just a clerical error, someone's clerical pen just wrote themselves into history." The crowd roared. Clips of the senator's words began circulating in classrooms, offices, and comment threads. People quoted the line, "If accountability feels like politics to you, perhaps the numbers aren't the only thing missing." It became more than a soundbite. It was a statement of principle. Public trust, so often dismissed as fragile, surged in an unexpected direction. For once, viewers didn't feel cynical. They felt vindicated. Comment sections filled with pride, admiration, and something rare in politics, belief. "This," one viewer wrote, "is what leadership looks like when you stop caring about who it offends." Every headline, every share, every meme built on itself until the story became unavoidable. For days, Bondi and Patel tried to regain control of the narrative, but the internet had chosen its hero, and it wasn't them. Yet behind closed doors, the senator faced the real cost of telling the truth. Night settles over the Capitol. The cameras are gone, the microphone's silent, and the senator finally sits alone. Papers spread across the desk like battle scars. The adrenaline of the hearing has faded, leaving only the quiet weight of consequence. Truth, they think, is heavy. It costs. But tonight, for once, the cost feels worth paying. A small stack of envelopes waits nearby, letters from citizens, students, and workers who watched the moment unfold. One from Detroit reads, "You made us believe public service still means something." Another from a college student in Houston, "I watched your clip before class and decided to change my major to political science." The senator smiles faintly, the kind that comes from exhaustion and purpose colliding. The narrator's voice weaves through the stillness like a soft current. Politics can bury truth beneath procedure and performance. But courage, quiet, deliberate courage, can resurrect it. A montage unfurls, workers gathering around office screens, teachers replaying the senator's words for their students, families nodding at kitchen tables as they listen again to that defining